Welcome back to Whitt Acres. In this video, we're cleaning up the pond garden. It is clearly the fall season here in western Pennsylvania, so the gardens are starting to look a little bit brown. We're getting some frosty nights, but we're still having a lot of nice days. It's pretty cloudy today, but it's still 63 degrees, so it's really nice hoodie weather. For me, it's like hoodie and a couple of shirts, but I don't like the cold. I do like fall, however, it is my favorite season. I do have it all decorated out here, and it's looking nice with the pumpkins and the petunias, but however, you can see all the brown on the pond bank. That's just kind of making it look a little bit drab and not as nice as it could be. Coming out here, we can see that the butterfly bush is still looking really nice. It actually has some vibrant blooms on it, nice dark green foliage, but all the zinnias around it are dead, and the hosta. So I want to get all that cut back and really highlight the buddleia as long as it has left. We also have a ton of gourds. They're growing in the waterfall, beside the waterfall, and all throughout the garden, going all the way around. So stick around, because after we get the garden cleaned up here, I'm going to count all the gourds and see how many we did get to volunteer this year. Those are birdhouse gourds, so I like to use those for crafts and create some birdhouses I can hang around the property for all the birds and wildlife that we have here. So it's really nice that I got one of those plants to volunteer, and there's a lot of good sized ones in there. So I'm going to grab all of them, get them laid out so I can get them up to the barn so they can dry over winter. So stick around, we're going to count them and see how many I have to throw up there for drying. You even have one growing out of the cold frame here, and you can see it got a little bit smushed between the cold frame and the wall, but it's still growing, so that one's pretty cool. It's a nice healthy one, but it is stuck. In a recent video, we got the beach created, and it's looking really nice coming down into the water. And working with some of that green hair algae, and the leaves that are falling right now are not helping. There's so many more leaves to fall over the pond yet. If I had the second pump running in here so that the jets could circulate, a lot of that leaf debris wouldn't settle to the bottom of the pond. It would actually flow all the way to the filter, and I could collect it down in the intake bay. But since that other pump's not running, only the waterfall's running, and as it spills into the pond, it's just not enough flow to push everything all the way around and to the intake bay. So as the leaves fall, I do have to go in there and scoop them out, but it's not that big of a deal. Hopefully I can get the pond through this winter, and then next year it'll be running at full capacity. I've also been working on the fireplace stone here. I don't have enough of these flat stone to make it all the way around to the pier like I want to do. I also might want to switch out some of the smaller ones for some bigger ones, but I think it's starting to look really nice. We did have a fire down here, and I think it was working out. I'm going to fill in around all these stones with the pea gravel going all the way out, so it'll be consistent, all the tiny pea gravel. That way I'll also be able to walk out here in bare feet, and you can go on the beach, you can go in the water and come out into the stone without actually hurting your feet, which will be I think a nice little feature. I'm going to get started on taking out all the dead flowers out of the flower bed first, and then I'll collect up all the gourds and we'll see how many we have. You helping, buddy? Good boy. you, the pond is looking a lot nicer and neater now. We got a lot of the stuff cleaned up. I'm not going to go through and weed out everything just because I don't feel like doing all that right now. It's not really necessary. I wanted to get that lemongrass trimmed up so it wasn't hanging over that one waterfall anymore, as well as dig out that gourd. We had one gourd growing underneath all that lemongrass that was hanging over the secret waterfalls there because it got all covered up, as well as the one gourd that grew right there in the front of the waterfall. Didn't place it there, it just naturally grew there. That's what's amazing about volunteers. If I wanted to grow a gourd on the backside of this waterfall and get it to do what it did and grow onto the waterfall and place a gourd strategically right there in the middle, I don't know if I could have done that, but Mother Nature found a way, and that's what I love about leaving volunteers grow in the garden. You never know what you're going to get. I got all the dahlias, the cosmos, and the zinnias cut back over here. I pulled out some of the portulaca, but I did like some of that portulaca that was still red there with the pumpkin and the fall color. I revealed the whole buddleia right there, and it is looking nice and glorious. That is the second year this pugster buddleia bush has been here, and it's nice to see that it actually has some blooms on it this late in fall. It's Halloween today, so I'm actually kind of surprised to have all this petunia color that's still blooming, as well as having some of these marigolds for fall as well. The maple leaves are covering the ground out here. I'm gonna have to get out here and mow up, chop up all these maple leaves one more time, and the farmer is getting ready to pick the soybean field. Well, it looks like Sedgwig and Mrs. Muffins have escaped the pen. They are out and about free ranging right now when they're supposed to be with the rest of their flock. Those two are troublemakers. On the back side of the pond here, I had some massive zinnias. We had some really strong branching structure going around on these zinnias. You can see how they all snap off right here. They break, and if you let them lay down, they'll actually heal and create that scar across there, and they just keep on growing. When they land, they drop more roots into the soil, and they just produce a really nice large plant. Here's your ball pop. Oh. Sorry, bud. Now that the pond is all cleaned up, I want to go around and count all of these gourds that are laying around the pond now. I was able to get my banana tree cleanly chopped down. I wasn't able to use the pruners because I'd be in there chewing away at it and it'd just make a terrible mess. So I used a nice long machete, and it makes a good clean cut. And look how beautiful that pattern is in there. Gorgeous. Ended up with a lot of gourds. If you've been following along and you think you know how many gourds we have, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below before we count them. Now I just placed them around the pond because I like to see them and have them as decoration during the fall until I throw them up in the barn to dry. We have 5 right here, and this is a pretty good birdhouse gourd right here. It has good size, probably about 8 inches tall by 10 inches around or diameter. So that's going to be a nice size one there. 2 more, and one is actually a really nice size as well. This one has a flat spot on the bottom, which will make for a really good spot to put a door for the birds. Right about there. We have 6 more on the back side of the log, and a couple of these are really good size. This one is one of the largest ones that we have. And then 3 more decent ones there, and another pretty good one over there. Of course, we have the ones in the waterfall still. I like to have them here. I'm going to leave them here until they're ready to go up to the barn. And these make 1, 2, 3 more gourds. On the right side here, I kind of just spread them out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm not sure if we can count this one. And as I was saying, Mother Nature plants in very opportunistic spots. These 2 gourds actually grew right here next to the stone, so I threw up a no running sign, some pumpkins, and a butternut squash, and added a little bit of color to this corner. Just built on what Mother Nature was giving me. Now these 2 are bushel gourds that I grew in the garden, so those don't count. But we can't forget about the squishy gourd. This gourd has grown right in between the cold frame and the wall here, and it's really not coming out, so we're just going to leave that one right there. That actually makes 31 gourds volunteer grown. grown by a volunteer plant here around the pond. So that's awesome. I didn't do very well with my birdhouse gourds that I tried to grow on the pergola or in the vegetable garden. So getting these volunteer gourds right here on the pond. Where you going, puppy? I'm trying to talk. That's all for this one. You can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching.